Detective Story, Cold Interrogation, Chapter 1, The Session, Sander County Detention Center, Maine, 2:02 p.m. The interrogation room is cold, surgical table cold, 2 chairs, 1 table, a plastic water bottle, recording is on, 2 cameras, one from the ceiling, the other directly facing them. Anna Kimble sits in a gray suit, sharp, composed. Her hands rest on the table, palms up, a non-threatening posture. Her breathing is slow, vitals steady, for now. The door opens. Arthur Drake steps in. He doesn't look like a monster. Clean shirt, thin-framed glasses, neatly trimmed graying stubble. He smells faintly of tobacco, not fresh smoke, but the kind that's sunk into the bone. He takes the seat across from her. No handcuffs. Smiles. Almost like a father would. "Ms. Kimble, you look exactly like I imagined." His voice is soft, velvety, warmer than it should be, not cold, inviting. Anna doesn't react. She opens the folder in front of her without even glancing up. "Mr. Drake, here are the conditions. You're being recorded. You've been notified. We'll be asking a series of questions pertaining to the new case." He cuts in gently. "I know. You won't believe this, but I'm actually glad that it's you." He looks at her, not aggressively, not piercingly, just present, the way people look when they're really listening, or memorizing how you breathe. Anna waits, holds the silence like a blade. "Why only me?" "Because you don't play power games. You watch when others flail. You're quiet at the right moments. That's rare." He leans in slightly. "I imagine people often tell you you're too quiet, don't they?" She doesn't answer, just blinks. Once. He continues. "Does it scare you that I know that? It shouldn't. It's simple. I used to teach, still good at reading people. And you're good at listening, which means we have a chance." Anna closes the folder. For the first time, she looks him straight in the eye. "Tell me what you know about the recent murders." "I don't know anything." Pause. "But I have an idea." Smiles. "And you want me to help you figure it out faster, don't you?" Anna makes a note. Precise. Dry. Drake watches her hand. Steady handwriting. No tremor. "But you must be nervous. Or maybe you rehearsed." He tilts his head. "Did you write notes to yourself before bed? Or say them out loud?" "I figured as much." Pause. Anna, coldly. "Are you trying to play games?" "Only if we both get to play. One mine, one yours. I answer, you answer. A session. Like the old days." She's about to say no, but then he adds, quieter now. "Otherwise I won't say anything, and you'll waste your time, and maybe someone else won't get your help in time." It's not a threat, but the weight behind his voice is iron. Anna nods. "1 for 1. Start." Drake smiles, a real one, for the first time, but there's no joy in it, only interest. "Good. My question first." Pause. He locks eyes with her. "Are you still afraid of water, Anna? Baths, in particular?" Anna freezes. No public record of that. It happened in 9th grade. Only her mother knew. "Your turn," he says, and leans back in his chair. Chapter 2, File 38-11, FBI Headquarters, Washington, D.C., Behavioral Analysis Unit, 6:24 p.m. "You don't have to keep going," said Dan Turner, Unit Chief. "If you want, I'll assign someone else." Anna didn't look up from the screen. She was reviewing a sealed folder marked Internal Personnel Records, her own file, graduation photo, psychological exams, HR profile, performance evaluations, all familiar, all routine, until today. "He knows," she said. Her voice was flat. "About my brother, the bathtub, my habits, even the ones you don't know." Turner pressed his lips together. "Is it possible he's manipulating you? Just coincidence? Projection?" "That's what I thought an hour ago. Not anymore. He knew. Not guessed. Not sensed. Knew." She turned the monitor toward him. Access log. One entry, highlighted in yellow. Viewed, June 3rd, 9:44 p.m. IP, internal, clearance level, expert B3. That's the day before the first letter from the killer, Anna said. I want to know who opened it. Turner slowly traced the line with his finger. That's our internal server. Could have been a tech, could have been a senior analyst. We get dozens of hits like that every day. Not to my file, she said sharply. File 3811 is sealed. I can't even access it without going through archives. He looked at her. Something in her face looked like a crack in glass, still whole, but structurally compromised. Anna, you need rest. I'm saying this not as your supervisor, as a human being. She looked at him, almost surprised. The killer knows the people I've known. He's targeting people I was connected to, in ways that only someone, with their psychological files, could imagine. And you're telling me to rest? He didn't respond. You want to know who accessed the file? Yes, he stood up. Fine, I'll file an audit request in the morning. But... A pause. Don't go into Drake's cell alone. Ever again. Anna didn't reply. Later, at her apartment, she opened the fridge, closed it, sat on the couch, opened her laptop, no new emails, phone, silent. And then on the bookshelf she noticed something. The Art of Interviewing, a textbook that always sat on the far left, was now in the center. She hadn't touched it, hadn't even looked at that shelf in a week. Anna stepped closer, opened the book. Page 73, a corner torn off. And in blue ink. We never work with strangers. Only with those we've already touched. No signature, her own paper, but the handwriting, not quite hers. Close. Like someone had practiced mimicking it. Chapter 3, The Lantern, Underwater Federal Psychiatric Detention Wing. 5:06 p.m. Anna entered a few minutes early. He was already there, just like before. No restraints, no guard, hands folded on the table, paper cup of water untouched. He looked like someone who'd paused reading and was ready to continue. No folder today, he observed. So you're here to listen, not to recite. Anna didn't reply, sat down, straight posture, steady breath. Your question first, he reminded. That's the rule. She paused. Why did you stop practicing? I developed a dependency on control. Smiles. Then again, maybe I never stopped. Be serious. I am, when someone sits in your chair and says, I'm afraid of the dark. And you realize they're really afraid of what the dark hides. At some point it stops being therapy, it becomes power, and you know that. Anna stared at the space between his eyes, no emotion. Your turn, she said. What was her name? The girl you used to hide with in the basement? A long silence, only the faint buzz of the security camera. What are you talking about? You know, the basement, the smell of dirt, the rusty lantern. You held her hand, thinking if you let go, she'd disappear. Anna whispered, barely audible. Claire. He nodded. She's gone now, but the lantern's still there, and you're still afraid that one day, it'll go out. Anna stood up. Session's over. Then check your inbox, he said calmly. You didn't mute notifications, did you? Later in the car outside the bureau, Anna unlocked her phone. Email, one new message, flagged, urgent, from, internal department subject located. She opened the attachment, Claire Jennings' childhood friend, cause of death, violent, found in her apartment, case photo, dark room, Christmas lights wrapped around the walls, on the floor, an old battery-powered lantern, still on, official ruling, suicide, unofficial notes, staged to resemble a childhood memory. Anna closed the phone, rolled down the window, but no air entered her lungs. Chapter 4, Erasure. 3:31 a.m., Anna's apartment. Anna sat on the floor, her back resting against the couch. Her phone lay unlocked on the coffee table. The window behind her was silent. Still, for nearly 3 hours, she'd been trying to reconstruct the timeline of the previous night. Cup of coffee, 9:10 p.m. Call from her boss, 9:35. Review of Claire's case file, 10:05. Then, nothing. No screenshots, no call logs, no emails opened, no TV turned on, not even a browser history, as if she just switched off. She opened her voice recorder, a habit she'd picked up working with anxious patients. The feed was empty, except for one file, created at 11:57 p.m., no title. She hit play. You're still trying to find yourself in the sequence. But you are not the sequence. You are the access point, and if you're hearing this, it means I'm already on my way. Her voice, but not her tone, smooth, deliberate, like the words were pre-written. The message lasted 14 seconds. Then, silence. Morning. She arrived at the bureau early. The hall still smelled of carpet dust, coffee, and laminated folders. She headed to the archives. An access request. Technically a violation. Functionally an act of desperation. Surveillance footage from the night Claire was killed. An alley, a shadow, a figure in a hoodie. Limping, holding something in their left hand. Maybe a bag. They turned toward the camera, face obscured by shadow. But the profile looked like hers. The shoulders, like hers. The gait, like hers when she's exhausted. She rewound, slowed the footage, grainy but clear. On the wrist, the same bracelet she wore the day she spoke to Drake. A gift from her brother, old, faded, the engraving inside. Depth doesn't scare you. What scares you is losing the bottom. She closed the video, laid her head on her arms, and sat there, motionless, in total silence. Later in the hallway, "You okay?" Turner asked. She looked up, her eyes were dry, voice even. "Have you ever lost a piece of yourself, so completely that you didn't even know what part was missing?" He didn't answer, just looked at her, with pity, which somehow was worse than fear. Chapter 5, Water Detention Center, Room 6B, 10 a.m. He was already seated. He always was. Same white collar, same hands folded on the table. He never tried to look dangerous, only essential. Anna entered. No notepad, no folder. Just her, just him. "We're skipping the warm-up today," she said. He studied her, approvingly. "You really have changed. I'm not you." "Of course not. Forgive me, Anna." He rarely used her name, only when he wanted it to linger in the air. "Your question," she said. "Very well." He closed his eyes for a beat. "Tell me what happened in the kitchen, the night your brother died." She didn't move. "I'm not going to." "You don't remember," he interrupted. "But the smell, you still do." Quietly. Bacon. Slightly burned toast. The sound of water, running, endlessly, and silence, unnatural, like the house had stopped being a house and become a dome, submerged underwater. A long pause. "Why are you doing this?" she asked. Her voice was level, distant. "Because I don't want you to forget who you are." He leaned forward. "You didn't just survive trauma, Anna. You're a response to it." She closed her eyes. "Do you think I'm killing them?" she asked, switching to you for the first time. He didn't answer. Instead, another question. "When was the first time you stopped feeling guilty?" She stared at him. Long, silent. And in that silence, no denial. But not agreement either. Later, streets of Washington, rain. The streets were empty. Puddles reflected the city lights. Like every pool of water held a mirror she refused to look into. Phone in hand. New notification. Body found. Name. Dr. Lawrence M. Stevens. Neuropsychology professor. Anna froze. He had been her academic advisor. He knew about her diagnosis. He alone knew about the treatment, the one that had been discontinued, for ethical reasons. Nearly a decade ago. Cause of death, drowning. His apartment, floor filled ankle deep with water. In the corner, a coiled garden hose shoved into the air vent. Under the sink, a labeled box. A trauma removed from short-term memory still informs behavior. She lowered the phone. Her hands were shaking. In her head, the sound of water, that sound. Chapter 6. Déjà Vu Detention Center, Observation Room, 3 p.m. Anna stood before the one-way mirror. Inside, him, calm, hands folded, staring at a blank wall, as if he hadn't been waiting for her, but for the moment itself. "Are the cameras on?" she asked the tech. "Yeah, but there's no audio coming through on his end. Been about 15 minutes, like something's jamming the signal." She looked at the monitor. Static flickered across the screen. The sound was silence, waves of it, as if speech itself had been cut out. Turner stepped up behind her. "You sure you want to keep going?" "No," she replied, "but I'm already inside. Interrogation room." She entered, closed the door, sat down. "You came back," he said. "Thanks for not being late." Smiling. "We run on schedule, right?" "Did you know the professor would be next?" "Not me. You." He leaned forward. "I'm just following your lead. I come after you. You're the one killing." "It's not the hand that strikes that kills. It's the one who decides what's unbearable." Pause. "You chose to forget. I chose to remind you." She looked at him, not with fear, but with something else, recognition. "What did you do to me?" "Me? Nothing." He blinked. His voice softened, almost tender. "I just preserved the structure. You couldn't carry the full weight of yourself, so another part was made. A backup, a vault. And now, here we are." He straightened up. "You know we've talked about this before?" Anna clenched her fist. "We never started from the beginning." He tilted his head. "You came to me a year ago. The first time. Back then you were different. You cried. You begged me to stop. You said, 'I don't know who I am, but I know someone inside me is killing.'" She stood abruptly. "Enough. Look under your left sleeve," he said. "There's a scar. You forgot it." She looked. Rolled up her sleeve slowly. On the inside of her arm, a pale, straight line, like a surgical incision. Old, barely visible, but it was there. She stepped back. "You." "I did nothing." He stood too, softly. "I was just the voice that helped you forget. Now I'm the voice asking you to remember." Later she was in the archives. Personnel records. The file was dated, a year ago. Initiated by A. Kimble. Subject, Drake. A. Purpose, voluntary therapy session, experimental format. Signature, hers. Date, March 7th, session number 1. But Anna had first met him, just this month. She closed the file. Her head felt heavy. Her lips moved in a whisper. "How many times have we already?" She looked at the ceiling. "Been through this?" Chapter 7. Relay Detention Center, 7 a.m. Unscheduled visit. Anna hadn't told anyone, hadn't filed the form. She just showed up, cleared security, opened the door. Observation room, empty, cameras off, monitors black, lights dimmed. She stood in the doorway. Inside, him, Arthur Drake. Seated as always, hands on the table, head slightly bowed. Looking at her like he'd been waiting for years. She stepped inside, quiet, sat down, like that first day, or maybe not the first. The pause stretched. He smiled. Calm. Clean. Everything about him, complete. "I'm glad you came." Pause. "Finally, without the armor." She didn't answer. She knew. Today he would ask the final question. "Did you figure it out?" He tilted his head slightly. Not who I am, but why you're here. She stayed silent. Tears threatened but didn't fall. It wasn't grief. It wasn't fear. It was the surrender of structure. I'm not your enemy, Anna. His voice gentle, almost paternal. I was just a tool. We both were. Now I'm not, but you still are. He opened his hands. I only wanted you to understand me, and now finally you're ready. He breathed in. I'm handing you the baton. When I'm gone, just take my voice with you. He closed his eyes, slowly, deeply, like slipping beneath water, and he never opened them again. Later they found the body 20 minutes later. Official cause of death, sedative overdose, precisely measured, taken internally. The cameras recorded nothing, no video, no audio, just blank. The staff denied any errors, but every protocol had been broken. Anna walked out, slowly, eyes forward unblinking. Something's wrong with her, the tech would say. She knew something, Turner would respond. She was part of it, the report would state. Anna said nothing, because there were no words left that didn't sound like his voice. Final scene. Apartment. 12:01 a.m. Anna sat before the mirror, leaned forward, hands folded the way he used to, eyes locked straight ahead, silent. On the table in front of her, a voice recorder. She hit record. Slowly, almost tenderly she spoke. One question from me, one from you. Shall we begin? If you made it all the way to the end, then you're exactly the kind of person I'm looking for. Hit that subscribe button. It really means a lot to me. I hope I can keep bringing you more stories, to make you smile, or maybe, to scare you.